Here's today's agenda. It's really straightforward. These first 3 bullet points are going to go fairly quickly, okay? This first one, tidying information, this is mostly for my class. It's what I saw for our presentations. Then we're going to be going over mock interview rebreather, which is literally just stating the mock interview again. Okay, it's just reiteration. And then we are going to be going over the mock interview pre-packet, which is something I will need. I'll get into it here in a minute. So Pedro will also need that. And then most of the class time, I'm going to try and make it for 2 separate discussions. We're going to see how much time we have. First one, I made it up on the spot. I feel like we're going to really like it. So let's go ahead and get into it. So tidying information. I saw this in an update last night. There are no peer questions for your interviews. Do y'all remember that in the last presentation I said y'all have to make up or find 2 questions to ask to your peers? No more of that. Okay? I'm just going to reiterate it. You do not have to find 2 interview questions to ask to your peers when the mock interview comes up. I'm going to be the only one asking questions. That's why I highlighted it in red. So also the resume, I was looking over the video that I did. I think I did a fairly good job of scaring y'all into not putting a whole bunch of high school information. Now that wasn't necessarily my intention, and I just wanted to tell y'all that I haven't looked at grading yet, but I will start today. And that being the case, it's like even if you had to rely on high school information, I don't think I'm going to grade very, very hard on that. Now the whole point I should have conveyed better in that last lecture was this bullet point here. Just realize it ought to be siphoned out over time. So even if you have something really, really cool from high school, eventually you are going to want to siphon it out. Okay, that's probably what I should have said last lecture. Yeah, well, I mean, just over time. Each new thing comes up. A lot of times we go through stuff every year. So, I try and update my resume once a year. And if I were in y'all's shoes, every single year when you update it, I would start just taking high school stuff out. All right, this is also for the presentation, so intro and conclusion sections. I want y'all in the future to look at the rubric I'm grading you from, to go online and look at the rubric, because a lot of us lost points on intro and conclusion sections. And so what I want us to do is just make them very forthright. It's, hi, my name is Rhett Downing, and then here's a preview of the presentation. I'm going to be talking about this, and then make sure you state your credibility. So one of us did shark fitting, right? So, hi, my name is Rhett Downing. I'm going to be going over shark fitting today. The reason why I can talk about this sort of thing is because I used to live near the ocean, and I actually saw one time somebody take off a shark fin. It was illegal, and I called it into the police. That's credibility. Okay, so if we want to make more points on our presentations, then make those intro sections and conclusion sections very, very straightforward. Does that make sense to everybody? Good. So the mock interview rebreather. Students will only come on their day of the interview. Y'all have heard this before. It's just reiteration. Like I said, most of the class is going to be this participation thing that I'm pretty excited to do. So the pre-mock interview packet, it's going to be on Blackboard in other assignments. It's not in the presentations. It's in other assignments. Now, this is another really important note. The TAs, we need it 24 hours prior because we have to tailor our questions to whatever you're doing, right? So this isn't one of those things you send to me 10 minutes before the interview. You can't do that. I have to be able to, at least the night before, be able to tailor questions. And then you will have it self-reflection. Don't forget that. It's very easy to forget, and it's very easy to count off points because of it, okay? Self-reflection, pre-mock interview packet. It's not recorded, thank goodness. Sometimes it gets a little weird. Just remember that if you do have to make up an interview, it's most likely that you are going to have to make it up in front of your entire class. So just, bear that in mind. If you start to have a conflict, then you may want to reach out to your TA so we can figure that sort of stuff out. Here's the schedule: Monday, March 4th, Wednesday, March 6th. Remember that we have spring break in between. Those of you who are groups 3 and 4, don't forget about it. Just start preparing, mentally preparing. Okay, don't forget about it. I'm making faster time than when I practice. This is great. So, pre-interview packet. These are literally copy and pasted from the document. These are the questions you are going to see when you download the document, and you're going to want to download the document. The reason why I just copy and pasted them is because I didn't want to get out of this presentation. So what is your desired career or career path? What company can you see yourself working for? These are all really straightforward. In the next year, will you be seeking out an internship or a full-time job? What is the most important aspects of the job or internship you will prioritize? Location, salary, company values. Now, what I'm going to say, at least for my class, and I would speak for Pedro also, is that give us 3 to 5 sentences. Don't just do one. Because if we need to tailor the questions to you, we need info to draw from. Just please give us enough information that we can tailor our questions. I suggest 3 to 5 sentences. Okay, y'all can do a paragraph pretty easily. That, and then these are really straightforward questions, so I have no doubt y'all can do it. And then there's one more. So please post a description to a job or internship you would like to apply for. This sort of thing you can make up on the spot, or if you want to look it up online and just copy and paste whatever that description is, that's great. And then you will need to put your resume in there. Please remember that too. You will need to put your resume in the pre-interview packet. Great. That was really fast. So my class has done this before a little bit. I elaborated on this whatever we're about to do. And they're mini interviews. I'm going to split you all up into groups, but each group's going to have like a specific task to do. So I know there are a lot of y'all, but let's go ahead and look. Let's see. Imagine you're interviewing for your dream job. Okay, just imagine you're interviewing for your dream job. Now, each of you start getting into twos right now. Go ahead and start pairing up. Tell me if you don't have someone to pair with. I think, are we good? Are we all good? Do all of us have a... I think so. Yeah? All right, now one of you in the group decide to raise your hand. Good. Okay, it's going to be pretty wild. So now, those of you who raised your hand, please leave the room. Okay, that does not mean leave the class. Just chill outside till I come get you, obviously. It won't take long, I promise. All of y'all have phones and stuff? Yeah? Okay. Now I'm a loud guy, so when they shut the door, I'm going to try and whisper. Is it shutting? Okay. Here are the instructions. I want y'all to take photos of these or write them down. You are going to ask your partners these questions. And there's your task at the bottom. I don't want to say it out loud. Now, you do not make your task obvious. You keep it a mental note, or you pretend you're writing something down, and you keep a tally. Okay, I want y'all to count. Now, this is just an exercise, and you are going to be going through something similar, not the exact same thing. Does everyone understand what's going on? Okay, I want y'all to ask these 3 specific questions. I'm going to go ahead and let them back in. Okay? All right. Go ahead.
Oh no, he's smiling.
Yeah.
Good.
Y'all are going to be going through something similar. Everybody's going to be going through something similar. So, those of you who are coming back inside, please allow your group members to ask you some questions and answer to the best of your ability. Go for it. This is still following. Are you asking?
shouldn't tell that.
You done?
I can't.
Well, the first one, what are your strengths?
Yeah.
Second one's what are your weaknesses? And then the third one is I know it. It's
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
yes. Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Everybody just about done? Okay. You ready to hear what the topic was, the task? Let's get into it. So, I don't know. Go ahead and explain your tallies to them, by the way. Go ahead and say the number. Everybody got tallies? Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah.
I knew it. I said the first thing I remember.
Oh, that's good, man. That's good.
Literally, as soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, shit, the lesson we had that other week.
Okay. What have we learned? What are our tallies? What are they, did anyone get like 10? Anything like that? 13. Right. Yeah, it happens. It's what we do. And you can chalk up my filler words. I've told y'all before. I use right and okay a lot. A lot. Those are classified as filler words. This exercise was to show you. I told y'all about this before in my class. A lot of times when we come up and ask somebody a question, the first thing that comes out of our mind, our mouths, and our mind, I guess, is the first thing. So when you're in an interview, think about that. Think about it. Maybe try and consider not saying or or like. Many of us use like a lot. That's really like annoying, isn't it? Very like annoying. So we can, this is the exercise. I wanted us to try and understand just how often we might do these things. Now, these aren't necessarily a bad thing. These aren't. Like I told y'all before, it's that many times when I don't use my filler words, I lose my train of thought. So sometimes I have to have them. But when it comes to an interview, it can also be like a presentation. You can engineer the light you want to be in. So if you want to be perceived as somebody who doesn't use filler words, or somebody who thinks before they speak, think about not using a filler word as soon as someone asks you a question. Everyone like that? That little activity we did? Was it fun? Good. Okay, so I can't remember if I gave away this next slide. Let's see. Those of you who didn't raise your hand, go ahead and walk out. Leave. Get out of my class. Remember, don't just run off, please. I'll grab you in like a minute.
I just felt like a call out. Oh no, how many filler words do they use?
Yeah, this one's really interesting. This one's really, really interesting. I'm glad we were an even number, too.
Yay.
Okay, I'm going to be a little bit quieter since I'm a loud guy. I want to give away what we're doing. So, if you have your phones or a notepad, take photos. You're going to be asking these 3 questions. Now, there's your task. Now, it's a little bit more subjective task. I'm going to give you an example. Say, for instance, I want to be a filmmaker, and I'm going into an interview to be a filmmaker. You ask me the first question: if I were an animal, what would I be? Here's the tailoring aspect. I would be a Pegasus because my favorite production company is TriStar. That is tailoring your question. So the point of this is that it catches them off guard, and another point is that they have to learn to be able to tailor their question to the interview and to the job.
So do we also
All right?
ask them what their dream job is? So that we know if it's tailored?
Yeah, why not? I didn't put that in there. But go ahead and preface it and ask what their dream job is so you know. It's a good idea. I think this is following me, so I have to go grab them. Okay, y'all, everyone good? I gotta move this still now so they don't know.
Would that be the first question we asked? What's your dream?
The first one? Yes. Yes.
Please just let me know what your dream job is so I can tailor these questions to that, and then that'll like put
Just ask what
tailoring in
their-
their head.
Yeah. We don't want them to know. So just ask them what their dream job is
Yeah.
and say you need to know before. That makes sense to everybody?
So the question's tailored to their dream job.
Yes.
How
That with its productive, if it's a productive answer. So it's like if they're so caught off guard and they can still make it not so confused. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Everybody good, or do we have more explaining?
I know.
So if they're like not on track, it's
Right. That's what we want to see. If they're way too confused to give an answer, that's what we need for them to see. Is that it's just, these questions are meant to catch off guard. Right? So if they get all fuzzled, that's the point. Okay? Mm-hmm. Have a good one.
I usually have.
All right, those of you who are coming back inside, go ahead and let your partners ask you questions. We're doing an activity. The attendance sheet is a piece of notebook paper, and it is right over there.
What's your drink?
but like what part of it?
Okay, now you were an animal.
There's another activity that we're going to do. There's another activity we're going to do. So it's like, we're almost done with this one.
How would you sell hot That was all your questions?
Sell hot chocolate.
Y'all finish quick. Yes, yeah, it's for the other class. You can just leave it there.
Was like their teacher sticker on
No, he had to go somewhere. It's in, I can't remember where. The embassy. Yeah, just not here. I think it's somewhere back home where it's from. Go ahead and raise your hand if you're done. Okay. Everybody's finishing up? Okay. Y'all ready to hear the task? All right. I'll go ahead and explain this to you. So I told your partners to determine if you tailored your answer to your dream job. This is the example I gave. So if somebody asked me this first question, if you were an animal, what animal would you be and why? I would say, for instance, I'm going to be in an interview to be a filmmaker. I'm going to be a Pegasus because one of my favorite production companies is TriStar, and their emblem is a Pegasus. That's how we tailor. So say, for instance, I just said, I want to be a bear. I don't know any production companies that are a bear. There could be one, right? But the whole point is I specifically chose Pegasus because TriStar is my favorite production company. So it was also to see how well you do under pressure and how well you do when somebody specifically asks you something that is supposed to jar you, how well you answer those sorts of questions. So what are some of the things we learned? Huh? Give me some.
Like through an example.
Sure.
Well, my partner said that his dream job was marketing, but when I asked the selling hot cocoa in Florida, he just said that you wouldn't really be able to because of the temperature.
Right, yeah, it'd be tough. It would definitely be tough. I heard a little bit more from Ryan, too. You said that Floridians are pretty crazy, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they would buy hot cocoa. That's honestly not a bad point. Well, Wyatt?
I just thought you could have spun that one from a marketing question. That was
Look at that. Yeah, see that? Thinking on the spot. So did y'all get really confused with these questions, those who were asked? Yeah. How did you react to them? Were you surprised? Did you get caught off guard? Could you not, was it hard to think? Sometimes it's hard to think when you get caught off guard. And I guarantee you in some interviews, some people might ask you questions along these lines just to see how you react, and especially to see if you tailor it to what they want to hear, what they want to hire, okay?
So then would you really want to tell a job that you have a different favorite production company?
You could. It depends. Yeah, it just depends on the person. Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad point. You probably don't want to say anybody's competitor, for sure. Yeah. So last question is, how did y'all feel about that exercise? Give me one thing, and we can move on to the next activity. I need to hear from y'all, not from me. Good? It was good? Great. I love that. Good. Okay, so next part is I would get out a sheet of paper and write this stuff down. This is just question answering, and then we're going to discuss it after we're done. That, or I guess you could do computers too if you'd like. What was that? Yeah, just type it. That's what I meant to say too. So one interview, I was interviewing for access services at the library. I used to work at the library a couple years back. And one of the questions, I already told my students this, one of the questions was, how many stoplights do you think there are in Lubbock? I got the answer abysmally low, okay, abysmally. But the point was, he wasn't seeing if I got the correct answer. He was seeing how well I responded to a question I most likely did not know. And I made it a point every single time that they asked me a question, I paused and I thought. I did not use any filler words. I just wanted to give you all that example. So, keep answering these questions. Okay, y'all can go ahead and start finishing up. We can get into discussion. Now, I'm sure writing on paper when you're not in front of an interviewer, these things are pretty simple, right? Pretty easy. Yeah? Now, when you know an interview is coming up, it's likely that you're going to be a little nervous, and that's okay. It's very, very human. Very, very human to feel that sort of thing. Now, with interviews, you will be able to prepare. That's what this class is made for. Preparation. So, let's see. Claire, what's your dream job?
To be a teacher.
To be a teacher. Okay. Say I'm interviewing you for a position to be a teacher. What is your greatest professional achievement?
Right now, I would say my greatest professional achievement is an independent lesson plan I put together last semester. I was able to demonstrate that I had classroom management over a rambunctious group of 5th graders, and I proficiently taught a lesson that met the standards for Texas in biology.
There we go. See how little time we had to prepare for this sort of thing. I just asked you all these questions. I put them on the board. She went ahead and answered it. I pretend I was an interviewer, and she answered it just like that. And how well she did. You answered it pretty well too, especially right on the spot. Especially right on the spot. So the questions, at least for my class that I'm asking, are going to be pretty similar to these up here. And what I want us to learn, especially with that last exercise, is the tailoring. So I had to ask Claire, that, you know, what her dream job was and stuff like that. But every sentence she said, there was 2 or 3 sentences in that answer, had to do with teaching. I want y'all to do the exact same thing. So I've given examples to my class before about how about tell me about a time you failed, right? That's a pretty tough question. Interviewers are not going to want to hear about how bad of a failure it was. They're going to want to hear about the failure and how you learned from it. Okay? So there's always got to be a silver lining. And what I want y'all to start understanding is that every question an interviewer has, you literally tie it back to the company. Literally. I don't care if you have to ramble to try and get there. You tie it back to what they want to hear. Something good. Now don't, for the love of everything good, do not stretch the truth. You must be truthful. Many times, all of us here, and now, doesn't matter what age, We can tell when people are BSing. We can just perceive it. Some are better than others. But I guarantee you, if this interviewer is a little bit older, they're going to be able to read you like a book. Okay? So let's see. I want to take up just a little bit more time. I don't know any of y'all's names in the Pedro's class, so I might have to point somebody out. What's your name? Yep. Alyssa. Let's go with what's your dream job actually?
Being personal finance planning.
Okay, personal finance planning. Great. Say I'm your interviewer.
Right.
Why do you want to work for my company?
I feel like it would be a good opportunity to grow in the finance field, and I can see myself growing with that company because they align with my morals and what I think is right.
I love it. That's a great answer. Now I want to show y'all what else you can add to this sort of thing. When we gear our answers toward how we can improve, I also want you to tell them how they can improve. So that was a great answer. We can work on a little bit more just to make their ears ring a little bit better, right? So it's like, okay, this company aligns with my goals, and I think we'd be a really good fit. And I can help achieve your goals just as much as you can help achieve mine, right? So this is mutually beneficial. I don't really want to hear y'all just talking about yourselves. Everything has to do with putting everything in a silver light, in a good light toward the company. You need to tell them just how beneficial you are if you are to get hired. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? I'm going to take up just a little bit more time. I might do more of Pedro's class. What's your name?
Andrew.
Andrew. Tell me about a time you failed.
So at my first job, we had two people leave that did the same job as me, so I had to fill the role of 3 people, and I could not fill 3 people's shoes. I failed pretty miserably, and some money was lost. And after that, I was actually part of the process for picking 2 people who were placed there.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tailor that towards the needs that I learned that I needed
Right.
by having to fill those shoes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a great example. A great example. Because especially how you prefaced it. You said, I had to fill the role of 2 or 3 other people. Sounds pretty impossible to me. So especially if you tell your interviewer that, they're going to hear that sort of thing. Now, when I'm listening, typically y'all can hear me say, oh, okay, Don't always expect that. Don't always expect that when you're answering a question, somebody to follow along. They might nod and stuff like that, but don't be surprised if they are silent. Now, remember we talked about before in my class how, 3 or 4 seconds of silence often signals in our minds a sense of, what's the word? Rejection. Thank you. I lost my train of thought just now. Thank you. Rejection. So that could be subliminal, but I just want y'all to understand that not everybody's so vocal, and that's okay. So when you are done answering a question, you can be silent too. You can be silent too. You can signal to them silently that they can go on to the next question. You don't have to ramble. A lot of times, even especially with me, for instance, if somebody asks me a question and I don't feel like this person has the entire answer yet, I'll just keep going. And it gets annoying because it's like, okay, what is this guy talking about?
It's an interrogation tactic.
Yeah, it is also
science.
Yeah, it's also an interrogation tactic, just sitting there watching. Now, I'm not saying all your interviewers will do that sort of thing. Literally just depends on the interviewer, depends on the person. And I think I've told my class before, you can absolutely try and gauge these things. Try and gauge who the interviewer is when you walk in. See if they're a little bit more casual. See if they're a little bit more professional. So it doesn't necessarily mean see what you can get away with. It's just try and understand where they're coming from and who they are, so you can especially tailor your questions a little bit better to what they want to hear. I think I'm going to do one more, and then I might let y'all go. So, anyone want to answer these, or do I have to keep asking people, pointing people out? Anyone really brave wants to raise their hand and answer a specific question? No?
What's the question?
You can choose one. I'll let you choose whichever one you'd like.
You get to pick the greatest personal achievement and then just brag to the whole
There you
class.
go. There you go.
I don't know.
Okay, I love it. Let's hear it. Which question do you want to
The
answer?
third one.
Third one. Okay, I'm ready.
Alright, so my dream job is to become a video editor in the sports industry. Recently I reached out to my high school to create video content for the athletics department. They're a small school, so they don't get a lot of exposure, and some athletes are really good. So me being able to create like content to expose those athletes would like help them, and then it would help me gain professional experience. And then with that, I would want to push that knowledge towards women's sports, just as they don't have, I feel like they don't have enough recognition. So me being able to do it for my small school would also be able to help, women's sports.
There we go. Yeah, straightforward. I love it. I don't have any critiques with that sort of thing. That was very, very solid. Very, very solid. Now, there's two things before I let y'all go. So the tell me about yourself, one I want to talk about a little bit. So it's already what I've been harping on 1,000 times already. It's that even the basic question of tell me about yourself, you can absolutely tailor it to what the person wants to hear.